Imagine you are one of the most powerful beings in your world almost from the get-go. That you have abilities and powers that supersede everything everybody else has by a reasonable amount, so much so that 90% of every opponent you meet is already guaranteed to lose the battle via a one-shot attack from you if you so choose. And yet, your most powerful ability is your intellect. That is the exact position Lord Ainz Ooal Gown, previously known as Lord Momonga, finds himself in. If you aren't familiar with the world of Overlord, it basically revolves around an active player of an online DMMO RPG game, Yggdrasil, who gets transported into the world of the game via mysterious means where he continues to live in the form of his in-game character, Momonga, a powerful high-level being who is basically a deity compared to every other character in the game. Momonga soon after this event chooses the name Ainz Ooal Gown, the name of his former guild in the game itself, and it's in order to alert the old members of his guild if they were in the game just like he was, and then begins a quest to understand completely the strange new world he was in and go on adventures in it. So, as I mentioned earlier, prior to this transportation into the game world, he was a very high-level player, at level 100, and his skills easily translated into the new world of the game, making him at least one of the most powerful beings. He certainly looks the part too, that's for sure. With a huge intimidating structure and looking like a literal skeleton, he was sure to strike fear into a lot of people even before he unleashes his overwhelming abilities on a fight. But again, like I mentioned earlier, aside from the accountable spells apparently at his disposal, one aspect of Ainz's character that can and indeed tends to be overlooked is the fact that he is a tactical genius. If you have ever played an MMO game with a massive, complicated skill tree just like the one in Yggdrasil, you should understand that it is not very easy to determine who wins a PvP battle based on levels or spell strength alone, especially when both players are within the same range with regards to strength. There is a lot of overlap, a complicated power scale that isn't necessarily linear, different specialized classes that are more equipped to deal with one kind of spell or spellcaster than others, and a whole lot more factors to consider. For anybody to really consistently beat their opponents, simply being on a high level and having powerful equipment and spells just isn't enough. You also need to know how to use them, when to use them, and who to use them against. That requires a keen tactical mind and a knack for strategy to set you apart from everybody else. And in that aspect, Ainz is a master. In fact, I would even go as far as saying his impressive abilities kind of make his tactical genius go under the radar as a character, because, well, let's face it, very few people ever really think of the giant skeleton when listing smart anime characters. So for this video, I will be demonstrating the instances where Ainz shows us that his famous skull isn't as empty as it may look from the outside. Starting off with the Blood Valkyrie arc, in his battle with a mind-controlled Shalltear Blood Fallen, one of his floor guardians and undoubtedly the most powerful of them, Ainz misleads everybody, including Shalltear herself, on the extent of his knowledge of her abilities, making himself appear weaker than he actually was from a tactical point of view. This strategy of concealing one's true understanding of a battle seems easy and obvious in hindsight, but actually offers quite the advantage when used correctly, especially when fighting against a being of near equal strength where every single edge you can find is crucial, as no matter how slight it is, can prove decisive. In this specific case against Shalltear, he forces her to pull out her trump card, the summoning of the replica Einherjar, lulling her into a false sense of confidence. And additionally, when she figures out that she was indeed trapped, it gave her a psychological hit, making her second-guess her every move, wondering what else Ainz had up his sleeve. These two factors heavily contribute to her defeat and death. Now remember that before this battle, due to Shalltear's supposed proficiency against the undead, Ainz was given a 7-3 odd of winning, with this being the 3. And yet even while sustaining some damage, he was able to come out on top relatively easily, without ever really being on the back foot throughout the battle, all owing to his impressive execution of simple yet effective tactics. Long story short, the battle was over even before it began. Shalltear stood no chance, and the moment Ainz stepped into the battle, it was GG. The second case would be his battle against Riku Aganaya, a light novel and anime exclusive battle that occurs in Season 4, Episode 11 of the anime. Now, a caveat to this scene is that it technically isn't Ainz battling Riku from the beginning, but rather Pandora's actor playing as Ainz. But I will still be using this for two reasons. The first being Ainz using Pandora's Actor was a part of the greater probing strategy, as we will see this later. The second being that Pandora's Actor was using Ainz's abilities and his thought process, so they were basically the same thing. And now to the battle, the Sorcerer King showcases exceptional tactical acumen in his battle against Riku. And this analysis will dive into Ainz's strategic decisions, demonstrating his mastery of combat, tactics, adaptability, and information gathering. Because if you thought he was impressive against Shalltear, he's on a whole new level in this battle. For the pre-battle prep, as I mentioned earlier, Ainz's initial move involves using Pandora's Actor as a decoy to lure out strong foes. The reason why this tactic's so effective is very obvious. It allows Ainz to gather information about Riku's abilities while keeping his own strengths concealed and protecting him from any nasty surprises along the way. Now, throughout the battle, Ainz employs various strategies to assess Riku's capabilities. He first uses delay teleportation to impede Riku's arrival, buying time to buff himself with Body of Effulgent Barrel, and set up the trap spell Explosive Landmine, ensuring that Riku has a nice little arrival party. And when Riku does arrive, Ainz uses what I call reverse talk no jutsu. In other words, conversational manipulation to learn more about his opponent, probing him for any weaknesses or strengths that he might reveal unknowingly. Next, Ainz then observes Riku's skills, noting the connection between his abilities and health pool, especially the connection between his health and his equipment. Not only that, Ainz also adapts and employs appropriate countermeasures to Riku's attacks. They include a set of defensive measures Ainz utilizes, Wall of Skeleton and Call Greater Thunder to counter Riku's attacks, conjures the Doom Lord to assess Riku's strength and create an opportunity for escape, Perfect Unknowable, an invisibility spell to, well, become invisible, repositioning himself for a potential counterattack. And then of course, how can we forget his deduction skills, specifically figuring out that Riku was a non-human by observing that the way he dodged attacks was too mechanical, looking almost robotic, or that Ainz quite literally guilt trips Riku while pretending to surrender his slowing his attacks by basically telling him the war was his and his master's fault. The list is endless. And in conclusion, Ainz Ooal Gown's battle against Riku Aganaya showcases his exceptional tactical genius on various levels. He prepares contingencies, utilizing decoys and information gathering rather than engaging an unknown enemy indirectly using Doom Lord and Pandora's Actor. When required, he was prepared to adjust his tactics mid-battle, responding to Riku's abilities. All of these are possible because of a very underrated ability of any strategically sound character: the ability to function at a high mental level even during high-octane battles. To be clear, Riku was a worthy opponent by all metrics, which made this battle a genuinely difficult one, but Ainz is still able to deduce Riku's strengths, weaknesses, equipment, and even strategy, all while literally fighting for his life. That, in my opinion, is the true mark of his strategic genius. That is why Ainz Ooal Gown is a master of that craft. And that's the end of today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, let me know down below who your favorite intelligent character is in anime. And don't forget to like, share, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.